Good afternoon, everyone. Already sorry for the noise. I'm driving to Portlaoise today. It's Tuesday the 1st of August. And I wasn't meant to be off today, but since I was on call for the hospital last night, and I was pretty much up for most of the night, I got today off. And rather than staying and relaxing for the day, I actually decided to schedule a meeting in Portlaoise, which is about 150 kilometers from here. Not only did I decide to have a meeting in Portlaoise, I also didn't charge the car. As a result, the car was at 35% when I left my house. And obviously I cannot do 150 kilometers on a 35% charge, so I'm going to have to charge somewhere. Several options. I could have gone to the train station in Mallow, which is my nearest faster charger than my house. But I didn't really want to be hanging around the train station for an hour. So I've decided to drive to Fermoy there's a fast charger there, 43 kilowatts. Charge up there, just enough to get to Cashel. Charge up in Cashel, and charge up enough there to drive on to Portlaoise. Should be pretty straightforward, but the previously mentioned single points of failure. Fermoy is the only charger in quite a decent radius. If I arrive in Fermoy and that charger isn't working, my options are limping back to Mallow and cancelling the meeting, because I would have no easy access to a second charger. Now, this is a common problem in Ireland, as I've mentioned before. We don't really have any multi-charger locations, at least not in the fast charger setting, which is a bit it's a big annoyance most of the time, and a problem some of the time. Thankfully, I don't think other than my one time I ran out in Newcastle West, I don't think I've ever been caught out. But there's a first time for everything. I'm hoping today is not that day. Other than that, we have a bit of a breezy day, grey, the occasional shower, although it seems to be brightening up a bit, so weather-wise we're pretty okay. I think it is about 16 degrees, 17, my apologies. And yeah, it should be a pretty straightforward drive. So I think I'll just update you guys at the usual points. Okay, so far so good. Just arrived in Fermoy. 19% left when I started. One of the things I've also noticed since this battery management system update, the BMS, I really should just say BMS, the estimate time remaining seems to have dropped. I used to regularly see 50 minutes, maybe an hour. It's now always sort of 45 minutes, 35 minutes. It seems to have dropped a little. So there's these small little differences that I notice. So, anyway, I'm charging. I'll probably need about 50-60% in order to get to Cashel, which is my next stop. It is currently 14:47. So here we go, 58 kilometers. So actually I'll probably only need a little bit less. Well, that's alright then. 20 minutes should do me, I'd say. I'll wait until the sat-nav says that I'm A-OK, and I'll head out. Now, 15 minutes later, we are at 60%. and on our way, and I think I just cut off the camera. Anyway, so yeah, now this charger has always caused me problems, and I have to be honest, that problem continued, because I didn't stop the charger did. It just cut off, no real reason, no error messages, nothing. So yeah. So I am at 61%, I have 90 kilometers range showing, but I'm expecting that to drop, because I did a fairly economical drive on the way up, and I'm going to be motorway pretty much the whole way up, so that is going to change. But I should have enough to get to Cashel. And when I do, I will charge up just enough to get to Portlaoise. Yeah, that was easy enough. 17% in Cashel, charging right next to a Nissan Leaf. Right, we've been here for 15 minutes. I'm currently showing a 59% charge. Now, reason why I'm mentioning this is because I started at 16%, and in Fermoy I started at 18%, so 2% of a difference. After 15 minutes I disconnected, or the charge point disconnected, at 61%, so 2% of a difference. This just goes to show that the charge rate is pretty darn consistent, at least up until 60%. So 15 minutes will give you from so 15 minutes will give you, oh, my math is horrendous these days. Yeah, basically about 3% a minute, which is what you'd expect, is what it was as well, I might add. The difference being is that it seems to go further on a lower state of charge, which again is what you'd kind of expect, is because the 62% that is currently shown is actually 62%, whereas previously it probably was lower. That and the extra battery capacity. So yeah, so far I'm delighted with how this car is performing. Brilliant on longer journeys. I'm going to give this another 5 minutes, probably use the bathroom. 5 minutes, and I should have enough to cover the 77 kilometers to my next destination, which is Portlaoise train station. That is assuming I can charge there. If I can charge there, then I'm gonna probably just drive to the office where my meeting is, have the meeting, and find the fast charger at the food court and have dinner whilst I'm there. 75%, and the charge is down to 30 kilowatt hours. Now 80%, down to 25 kilowatt hours. And we've been here for 25 minutes, exactly as the specification is. Now look at that, it's actually a pretty decent amount of kilowatt hours provided. But I've got enough, so we're going to stop. So yeah, 25 minutes to get to 80%. I used to get higher on the percentage scale. The thing is though, I don't need to go higher anymore, because after 25 minutes, which is what I would usually charge here, well actually less if I wanted to do the junction 3 hop up or going a bit further, it actually is the same amount of time, but it's just a different charging percentage. So considering I gained 15% state of health, my state of charge has also sort of, if you will, gone up by about 15%. So my 80% is my previous 95%, if that maths makes any sense. So people, and they're correctly saying this, but people are saying the car charges slower, or ramps down faster, I should say. So at, as you saw, 75%, the car starts ramping down, and by the time it reaches 80%, it's down to about 22 kilowatts. That used to happen later on, I have a recollection of it being around 95%, 90 to 95%. So at 90%, it would start ramping down, and then at 95%, it would reach about 22. These days, that is 75 and 80. So, for me personally, I think a half an hour would give you probably 85%. Judging by what I'm seeing on my estimate range, that's good for 100 kilometers at least. Doing reasonable speeds, not belting it down the motorway like some people are. So that's that story anyway. In the meantime, I've 75 kilometers down to my destination and 104 kilometers estimate range. I'm all hunky-dory. And the only difference is I'm about 15 minutes late for my meeting, but that is because my car wasn't actually charged. So, 15 kilometers to my destination in Portlaoise, and I have 38 kilometers remaining. When I left Cashel, I had a 27 kilometer buffer, thereabouts. I have a 25 kilometer buffer at the moment. Now, I haven't been holding back as I rarely do. I have had my car in cruise control pretty much the whole way up at 110 kilometers per hour. And I have to be honest, the estimate range has been dead on. Completely, utterly just dead on. It doesn't deviate, doesn't jump, doesn't tell you lies. It's been brilliant. So you can count on the estimate range. Now, if Renault would be so kind to bring out an update that would actually show, whilst you're charging, show the estimate range on top of the battery, that'd be brilliant. Because that takes the guesswork out of will I, won't I. If the car tells you, you've got a 80 kilometer range and you can see on your sat nav you have a 70 kilometer journey, TomTom might tell you actually won't be able to make it, but you can do the maths and you'll be pretty okay. But sadly that isn't the case. Now there is a way of doing it, but I think it involves plugging the car in but not actually starting a charge, then waiting for it to go into standby, or just at least turn off the charger, then start a charge, something like that. I'll look it up and I'll see if I can actually do that at the next time I'm at a charger when I'm not running to get into a meeting. Now, 3 kilometers to my destination, I've just come off the motorway, and I've just noticed that the car is saying I have an open flap, i.e. the charge port is open. I must have been driving since Cashel was an open charge point and just never realised it. The actual message disappeared the whole way down, so, I probably, see it's gone again there now, so it's probably being kept closed by the wind. And when I slowed down, it tripped the sensor and showed me an open charge flap, or, open flap. That's interesting. Anyway, 3 kilometers to my destination, not a problem. 32 kilometers showing. So, again, I had 27 kilometers of a difference. I now have, nearly 30. So, spot on again. Now, 25% remaining. Not a problem. Portlaoise train station, free parking whilst charging. Brilliant. Hello everyone. It is 20 to 7. I'm just reversing out of the charger at the train station in Portlaoise. That did not go as planned. Not the meeting, I actually mean the charging. It cut out after probably about 20 minutes, maybe a bit less, 15. it had only got to about 40%, which of course is, I mean, you know, I've got 77 kilometers range showing. This is after spending an additional 20 minutes on the phone to my wife whilst the car was started the second charge. But basically, yeah, that did not go as planned. Now, I have 78 kilometer range showing. I have two options. I can go to junction 3, if I can get out of this really awkward street. Yes. Go to junction 3, or go to the fast charger here in Portlaoise. Due to reliability issues at the charger in junctions or in Portlaoise, I'm leaning towards going to junction 3. It's always been a reliable charger, and I have enough to actually get, I probably have enough to get to Urlingford. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to bypass the charger here at the Midway Food Court. The Midway Food Court is a bit of a disaster zone ever since the recession hit. So yeah, we're going to do that, and then we are going to have some food, because as I said, it is 20 to 7 and I'm absolutely starving. And then it is on home. The meeting, by the way, was fairly productive. It was non-electric car related, so I won't go into the details, but I met some really nice people I had been working with over the phone for quite a while, but I had never actually met in person. So that was a very constructive meeting, which could lead to something fairly interesting. Again, not electric car related, but it could be lead to something adventurous. And we'll see where it goes after that. But back to the task at hand. Let's drive to junction 3. Ooh, I better actually take some cash out of my wallet for the toll. And yeah, so junction 3, and we'll talk to you guys there. 20 minutes later, we are at junction 3, Manor Stone. 40 kilometers range left showing. No idea what percentage, but probably about 30, I'd say. So let's plug in and grab some food. Yeah, 31%. So I was right. No, 19:04 when we're plugging in. So let's see. The next stop would be Cashel as usual. So I only need probably about 10 minutes, but I do want to grab some food. So we'll see how long that takes. 10 minutes splash and dash. Yeah, as you saw, that was 10 minutes. The place is absolutely mobbed, and the last time I was there, they were very, very slow in giving you any food. So there's no real point in me hanging around when I have a perfectly good working charge point 50 kilometers down the road, which is just, I don't know, what is it, half an hour thereabouts? So I'll have some food there, and it also has a McDonald's rather than the Irish imitation Supermax. So yeah, that was a 10-minute splash and dash, as I like to call them. It is the best way, I think, owning an electric car is when you're not actually waiting for the car to charge. So I prefer to do stops where I can just relax for a little while or whatever, but if I have places to go or whatnot, I tend to keep my stops as short as is possible. That of course requires a reliable network, and in my past experience, the charger here in Junction 3 and the charger in Cashel have been 100% reliable. So yeah, I'm not worried that the charger isn't working. Plus I have extra to actually get me down to Care if that charger isn't working. So yeah, so this is a bit of a calculated decision, and I am going to drive down to Cashel to do a nice top up there whilst enjoying my McDonald's. Yeah, perhaps I should not have actually done the cruise control at 120 for the 50 kilometers. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it is 19:47 and we are charging. We are charging in Cashel. I have 75 kilometers to go to my home and I have dinner to be had, so we're going to take it easy and sit back, chill and relax. Now 25 minutes later we are at 77% and that is enough. Now there we go, 78%, my apologies. 91 kilometer range showing. I think it's 76 kilometers to my destination. That should be no problem. Now, 2 or 3 kilometers from home, 30 kilometers left in estimate range, not a bother. My averages are pretty good. An average consumption of 17.5 and an average speed of 81.5. It was actually higher, but the last 20-30 kilometers or so are en-roads, and I was stuck behind a truck. So, total distance travelled, by the time I'm home, it'll be probably about 315 kilometres. I will put the actual totals up on the screen now, so that you can have a quick peek. My eco score is lovely and low, as I always do, is when I'm over on the motorways, I don't really hold back. On this way back now, for example, I charged for a total of 35 minutes to cover about 100 miles, so that was not bad. I could do another, I should say 160 kilometers. I don't really do miles. I still have 30 kilometers left, so I could do more. That isn't bad going at all. So the BMS update didn't really change my travel time. The only thing that has changed is that instead of actually disconnecting at 92-93%, I end up disconnecting around 80-85%. That's not a bad thing. Good old Irish summer weather, eh? Just out doing some final shopping and gathering some stuff for our journey to Holland, which is going to start this Saturday, and I'm super excited. It is now Monday, so 5 more days. The plan is to drive from Mallow, where I live, to Harwich in the UK in one day, so it's going to be a incredibly early day. I think we're going to probably drive away around 3 o'clock in the morning to catch the 8:45 fast ferry out of Dublin. Then the 11 o'clock in the evening ferry from Harwich to Hoek van Holland, where we are hoping to arrive at around 7:30 on Sunday morning, and we will take it from there. We will be in Holland and Germany for about 3 weeks, so that'll be awesome. I'm probably going to split that off into several episodes. I'm probably also going to switch the style up a little bit, because I'm finding that it is actually, the way that the previous styles I've always had an intro and an ending, but I'm finding it difficult to actually find stuff to put in the ending as well as the intro. So I'm probably going to switch that up a little. Probably just going to get rid of it altogether and just do the actual content, skip over the funny stuff. Because it just takes too long to make, and gathering content and all that kind of stuff. Just the videos will do.